All right, guys, joining me at this time is a young lady who I've actually kept my eye on for a while now. She's going to be officially making her pro debut here coming up soon. Marisa Chávez. How you doing today, Marisa?
I'm doing good, doing really good actually.
Now, that pro debut out of LFA, man, how excited are you to be fighting for such a big organization in your very first pro fight?
I'm actually really excited. It's been a long time coming. I actually had a five-fight contract deal with Combate Americas, but since
Hmm.
COVID had happened, I had yet to make my debut. So now I'm on to other avenues such as finding different promotions, and LFA came around, so I had to jump on the opportunity. So I'm just excited finally after a year of being put on ice just to get out there now.
And this was always your plan, was to turn pro. It wasn't like something that you did because of COVID, correct?
Yeah, no, it was definitely planned, to go ahead and go pro. Yep, after coming here to Jackson Wink, and they pretty much said, this is where you're at, and we believe you do good at pro if you don't want to do the amateurs anymore. And I was like, all right, bet, like that, I'll do that. Yeah, I'm more than
100%.
excited. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you have guys like, Jackson Wink telling you that you are ready for the pro level. Those are the type of people who you definitely can go behind and fall on their word.
Yeah, I've had people in the past and training partners and whatnot tell me you should go pro, you should go pro. Back when I was like, I don't even think I'm ready for the pros right now. I'm just still making my boxing transition into MMA. Like I still
Right.
working on that. But now that I've been here and whatnot, they definitely gave me the green light to go ahead and yeah, you need to go pro. I'm like, great, I'm on board with that.
Now, Jackson Wink, you've been there for a year. You live on the premises there. How has that whole transition for you been?
It's very different. Back home in Kansas, I didn't live in a gym. They didn't have like housing or anything like that inside the gym or dorms or even apartments or anything like that. So I'd have to drive back and forth and I'd work a job and whatnot. But now that I'm here, like I can walk down this hall and take a left and I'm right on the training mats and floors ready to go. And I love it. I mean, it's like just like living in a dorm, a kitchen, a little living room area, stove to cook with, and then the gym training out there. So it's like you're constantly surrounded by it. And I like it just because you can train any time of the day and night. Back when I remember when I was home, I'd be 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, okay, I can't sleep. What can I do? Oh, I don't have gym keys, so I can't go to the gym and go work out or do nothing like that. I can't go train. Here, I have the availability to do that, and
Wake up,
I love
put
it.
on some
Yeah,
clothes, go and get some
right.
sweat in.
Yeah, or you can go out there and just sit there and watch other people train. Sometimes I watch other people train or other classes that are going on that I'm not in, I'll watch just because there's so much different looks from different fighters to see and their styles, and it's just nice to observe and see people out there training.
Yeah, I bet at Jackson Wink too, there's just such a wealth of knowledge between all the big names that are there and even some of the guys who are a little less well known, but still have just that wealth of knowledge.
Oh yeah, a lot of people come from different gyms, so it's like walking into a library. Every fighter has different coaches and people they've been around and surrounded by. So they're taking that knowledge and training with them, and then you put them in a gym with somebody else, and then you have this other fighter from a whole another country, different gym, different coaches, and everything. So it's like walking into a library and looking at encyclopedias, just all different types of books from everywhere, and just picking up a book essentially is like picking up your sparring partner. I'm like, okay, let's go, and you're like, wow, I never seen something like that. I never seen someone put a combination together like that. I never seen that being thrown before. Just different looks. It's pretty nice to have that versus being in a smaller gym where you don't have people from all over coming around, together.
What was it about Jackson Wink that made you want to move there opposed to other gyms?
Um, I think it was when I came out here for a week to visit. I was able here to visit the gym because I was looking at other gyms. I had a few other gyms in mind. Team Alpha Male was one, American Top Team was another, AKA was another. What else? And then this, and then I was like, okay, let me go out there and check it out. So I came out here for a week. Within the second and third day is when the coaches had asked me, who are you, where are you from, what are your obligations back home, like, do you want to be part of this team, like on the fight team? I'm like, yeah, of course. Well, what is holding you back from making the transition? I said, give me a year to get all my stuff together and finances and all that, and I'll move here. And that's exactly what I did. Because I mean, like the big names that they have here, and then seeing all the bodies that are here on the mats consistently, and people how big the classes are, I'm like, I can definitely get good work here, and people are living here and training here. I was like, not a lot of other gyms offer that. I think American
Yes.
Top Team offers dorms and all that, but not many other places offer dorms.
I think it's super important too because, like you said, literally any point in time, there's a wealth of knowledge out there on that mat. You can get up, you can either A, watch somebody else and learn from them from afar, or you can jump right in there and get in it yourself.
Yeah, and then they have other teammates too that live around the building and whatnot. So I can just hit them up and be like, hey, do you want to go train? Can you show me this? Can you show me that? And it's 24/7. I can just call somebody or get a hold of somebody to go train. And it's great because I'm like, I'm not at a need or I'm not at a loss for finding somebody to work with. There's always
Yeah.
somebody to work with, even people who are better than me at what they do. I'm like, I'm just a sponge trying to soak up everything.
And the great thing too is maybe not back home, but definitely there you have people aspiring to be the best.
Yeah, and it's like what I think Michelle Watterson said it the best, and I love it, is because she said, "You don't come to Jackson Wink to find Nemo. It's a Shark Tank here.
Hmm.
You can't. There's no finding Nemo here. You got a whole bunch of people here ready to kill and show and prove everything they got and put it on the line in a sparring session. Like that's the fight that they're fighting, just to prove where they're at and see where they're at. So yeah, it's great work here, and I enjoy it.
Having somebody like Watterson who's in your same weight class, how does that help you, transition as a fighter?
It's helped a lot. Working with her, she's actually helped me some of this camp as well. Her and Holly Holm. I've had Kayla Yonteef help me. I've had Natalia Spence help me. Carson Nash, Brianne Jun, and Lydia Warren. A whole bunch of girls here. Josie Storts that's here now. A whole bunch of female MMA pro fighters, and some of them are amateur making their pro debut soon. And just the whole team of girls that we have here. I missed a whole bunch, but we still have a close knit team of girls. And having them all around, it's like they see one thing, one person sees another, another person sees
Hmm.
another, and it's like we all get together and talk about it.
Collectively, everyone sees the
Yeah,
whole picture.
yeah, and it's cool because like we have our own little group chat, and I can put in there, hey, this is my opponent, give me a look at it, watch your fight, and let me know what you think. This is what I see. Give me your perspective. Give me your opinion. What would you do? What do you see? And it's like everybody just chimes in, and I get the feedback what I'm looking for, and then I see my practice, and it's like, hey, let's go over this, let's drill this, let's do this. And so it's definitely beneficial to have someone like Michelle Watterson in my weight class to help me train, and I help her get ready for her camps, and it's just a give and take type of relationship. You give, I give. I take time out of my day, you take time out of your day to come here and work with me. So it's really great, and all the girls have been really nice to me, taking me under their wing, and being very inclusive too as a team. So it's great.
Yeah, some gyms have maybe two or three women on their team. It seems like Jackson, you guys have their dozens.
Yeah, we have a lot of girls here. So I
That
mean, I
must be
take
really
a look.
easy to find bodies, to find somebody to mimic your opponent. That's great.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit what brought you into the sport, kind of what started you off in MMA.
I came from a boxing background. I had spent 10 years prior doing amateur boxing, and
Hmm.
that was back in Lawrence, Kansas. I started that, got into that because when I was younger on the reservation, like all we did was fight and kind of being bullied. And like I learned very quickly coming from Kansas to the reservation, even though I looked Native American and looked like the other kids, I didn't talk like them. I didn't have the same mannerisms as them. And like the dialects and how they speak and everything, like I didn't even speak Navajo at the time or understand it. So when they're saying the Pledge of Allegiance in Navajo back when they used to say it, I was only because I didn't know it. I remember my fourth grade teacher, Miss Francis, had gotten upset with me. She goes, you're Native American. You don't know who you are. You don't know your own language. That's what your ancestors fought for you to be here. That's what made it okay to be Native American, was because they won the war, helped to win the war. The
Yes.
toe talkers. You should be proud of that. And I never understood that. And then the little kids would start making fun of me, calling me names and shit because I didn't speak Navajo, and they call me white because I didn't talk like them, I didn't dress like them and whatnot. My mom dressed me, and I was a little tomboy. So, anyways, I didn't look like them and whatnot. So, and I learned very quickly. I had my two little best friends named Michael and Leslie, and we're like three misfits. This tall, big, chunky white boy with a lisp. This smaller kid about my size, the bigger head, big ears, and a rat's tail, and skinny, named Leslie. And then there's a little Tom girl over here running around with them. And we were three little misfits, and they were cool with me, just very nice to me and whatnot. So we became friends and learning with them. they taught me how to fight. There's this one guy that became a good friend of mine and kind of kept me out of trouble, named Hector Gonzalez, and he ended up dying on the reservation. But
I'm
he's the
sorry
one
to
that
hear
got
that.
us. Yeah, he had us in his backyard and taught us. And he's like, "Hey, you're not from here, and you're gonna need to learn how to fight. That's what we do here. You get taught."
100%.
Yeah, we didn't have gloves on or nothing. We didn't have nothing. I never fought a day in my life like that. And all I
You're
remember
gonna
was
learn today.
you gonna learn today. I was just watching that the other night, the Kevin Hart stand up of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's when I realized like I have some really good power in this right hand. Like I can just drill people all day with this. And I learned how to hand like fight the streets with just nothing on your hands. And then being bullied, I remember the first time it happened is fighting, and it just came natural. Like I didn't worry about the other person getting hurt. I just thought, this is what I do, and I felt comfortable. And it was always hard for me to stop hitting them, even when they're out on the floor knocked out. As a kid, I didn't realize like they're out. Stop hitting them.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I realized, okay, they're out. I can do something with this, but I keep getting in trouble at school for fighting and getting
You were just waiting
suspended.
for the ref to pull you off.
Yeah, I was waiting for a rep, and then I got into boxing when I left the reservation because I got in trouble. I got too many fights down there. I was on the verge of being expelled because I got in a fight too many times. And so I went back to Kansas. I was like 16. I remember sitting on the couch. My sister Michaela, who manages me now, was going to school at high school, I believe, or getting enrolled in the classes. Her friend was going to this boxing gym down there at high school boxing when it was a thing. And I was eating hot Cheetos and drinking soda and watching TV. And then they said, "We're going to go to boxing class. You want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, they have a boxing here? Yeah, it's okay to hit people? Okay." So I jumped up and went. And ever since then, I was like, this is what I want to do. And I remember, like, boxing took me to travel to different places and fight. And I went to Chicago after winning Ringside Worlds when it was a thing as well. And lived there for like over a year and a half, just training boxing and fighting. And I remember seeing that fight with Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey. And I kept watching it because I was a big fan of Ronda Rousey. I was like, I
Yes.
love her mentality, but I always kept saying her shadow boxing is very questionable. I don't know
Yes.
what she's doing with them punches. I don't know. But I was like, an amateur boxer could piece her, take her apart. They just maintain the distance and just keep moving. And then when I seen the Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey fight, I was upset because Ronda lost, and I was like, "What the hell?" And I was like, I knew that was gonna happen.
Hmm.
Holly boxed the shit out of her, and kept that distance, and then that head kick, and it was just been
Yeah,
a
Holly's
big
movement was just way too good for her. The way she was able to move in and out and cut angles, there was no way that Ronda Rousey was gonna be able to hang with her at all.
no. As soon as I seen her eat that punch, I was like, oof. That left hand, I was like, oof. And then I was like, you know what? If I want to do MMA now, I want to do it. So I remember at the gym I was training at and teaching and fighting for and all that. I told them that what I wanted to do. So they invited an MMA guy to come through and teach Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So I started getting really good at that and started
Mhm.
enjoying that. And then they're like, okay, you need to make a decision. Do you want to box or do you want to do MMA? You can't do
That
both.
usually happens.
And then I was like, I want to be able to do both. I like both. And then I was thinking, okay, you know what? I don't really like this. I ended up having fallen out with the gym and whatnot, just disagreements and stuff like that. And then I moved back to
Yeah,
Kansas.
ultimatums are never good.
Hmm. And so I hurt my hand getting ready for my pro boxing debut for Bobby Hits out there, and then came back because I didn't have any money or nothing to do. I couldn't work or do nothing because my hand was fucked up.
Hmm.
So then, as it was healing, I got into dental assisting school, and I started looking back in my hometown, like, is there any MMA gyms? And there's one in Kansas City, like Lee Summit, um, Glory MMA by James Krause,
Yes.
ran by him, and I was like, maybe I'll go check that out. And then I seen American Top Team was close by too, and I was like, maybe I'll check them out. And then my mom was like, why don't you see if there's one here in town? So before you start thinking about driving all the way across towns and making a trip just to train, I said, all right. And then Lawrence Fight Club came in the picture, and I was like, hey, it's here. I never heard of it. Blah blah blah. Let me go check it out. I walk in, Thomas Thatcher. He was the he was the one that was running the gym, owns it with his brother Kyle, and he's a veteran and whatnot. Sweet guy, cool, kind of like a hippie, but very sweet, peace, love, like, but at the same time, hardcore trainer, and like
Yes.
just ripped. He didn't even have a shirt on, and just ripped and tattooed up, and I was like, the way he's talking is like he must have served some time in the military. And sure enough, he's telling me, asked me what I came for and what I'm here for, like, what do you want to do? I told him I just want to check the class out and see if this is something I really want to do. And he goes, you can meet the coach, gave me the coach's credentials and everything. As he's a pro fighter, he's had really good fights. This is his record. He's been doing it since he was a kid. This is what he's done and studied. And I was like, okay, cool. So I come out and he goes, you know what? Because I had just done sparring at Haskell Boxing Club
Mm-hmm.
and doing like, I think it was, I don't know how many rounds, like 6 rounds or so. I remember I was going back to back sparring with Miosha Wagner, who was a 2008 bronze Olympic boxing champion, and then Shiloh LeBeau, which is my cousin. And
So
going
it's
back,
safe to say you've dealt with some high level boxers before.
yeah. Like I worked with what's her name? She's in Chicago. She fought the Taylor chick. Jessica McCaskill. I've worked with her as well, and she's ranked too. I think she has a WBC belt too as well.
Yes.
And barred and boxed against her and whatnot. And anyways, I was there training with them, and so I did back-to-back rounds, 30-second rests, no water in between, and then I go to this MMA gym after. So I'm already sweaty, tired, exhausted. And then I go to the MMA gym, and then he's like, "You want to jump in?" I was like, "Fuck it, let's go see. This can't be that hard." It was hard. It was hard. And then I told my mom, I said, "This is the gym." She goes, "You don't want to go check out the other gyms?" I said, "No." I said, "This is the gym. They have like a CrossFit on one side and they have the gym cage and bags and everything." I said, "Everything I need is here. I don't want to go nowhere else." She said, "Okay." And then that was the end of it. I was like, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to dedicate my time to. If I have something I need to like fall back on, well, I have my dental assisting license, so I can be a dental assistant anywhere. So
Exactly.
I was like, this is what I want to do. This is my full-time job.
So you came out, you lose your first fight. Tell me, what did you learn from that situation and that whole outcome?
It was within, I think, like 2 months of me making that MMA transition. I took that fight against
Mm-hmm.
Marisa Ellis, yes.
Ellis, yes.
Yes. And I remember coming in the fight, I was like, okay, good. I can box this chick or whatever. Biggest thing I learned: don't reach down for the kicks. Don't reach for the kicks. Don't reach for the kicks. And then I was like, okay, biggest thing, okay. Next day I was in the gym. It was, I think, a 35-second loss or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. I remember walking out, I was mad.
The
As
Tapology
soon
has
as
it at 28.
so when I got hit in the stomach, the solar plexus, I went straight down. Like everything was okay here. I went straight, but everything else, like my body shut down on me.
Turned
And I was
off.
like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I don't give a fuck. She's hitting me in the face. I'm like, I can't fucking breathe. I feel like my stomach got kicked to the back of my spine. And I remember getting back up, and I was like, I'm fine. I was like, I wish this was a boxing fight. They would have gave me 10 seconds, and I would have been
Yep.
good. And I was like, this is not boxing. This is not boxing. And then I remember the next day we had practice, and everybody's like, why are you wearing your stuff from the night before? And I was like, because I'm gonna come out here and wear my stuff from longer than 37 seconds. I'm gonna train this whole fucking training today in my fucking fight gear that I was wearing, my walkout that I walked out in. And they were like, that's a good mentality to have. And ever since, like, even losses or wins, my always thing is go back to the drawing board, stay hungry. Like I've always learned in boxing, stay hungry. Don't hang on to your old wins like they were yesterday. Let them go. Stay hungry.
Yeah, you were able to rattle off 3 straight finishes and then another decision victory to cap off your amateur career at 4-1. Tell me, with your amateur career now behind you, what is the biggest thing you can take from it, and maybe tell the next generation to, aspire to do right?
I would say, don't worry about your amateur career, whether you win or lose, because when you go pro, it
You're still
doesn't
0
matter.
and 0.
Yeah, I can't remember. I was talking to somebody. They said, tell me this person's Anderson Silva's amateur career. And
No
I was
idea.
like, nobody fucking knows. We don't know who he lost to. But everybody
Hmm.
knows his pro career, and that's where you go. And then he's like such a big pioneer in the game, like his losses and everything. And then you think about Holly and Michelle, my training partners. I'm like, they took L's too, but nobody looks at their amateur career.
Hmm.
Nobody looks at it. They look at what you're doing now and if you're still fighting. So that's one thing I took from it. And then Rhonda, that fight with her, I was like, either you can take a loss and know how to take it healthily, or you can let that loss determine, where you're at mentally. Like that mentally broke her down so much she could
And that's like a
reconsider her
huge
whole existence.
asterisk too at like the end of her legacy is how she handled her loss to Holly.
And then she's like, I don't even know if I can live and do this. Like, I want to. The only reason why she said she stayed was because she wanted to have her husband's kids and be a
Hmm.
mom one day. Try to come back with that same mentality. And you can tell when it's a real mentality that you're genuine to versus one that you keep telling yourself and trying to believe and convince yourself. Rhonda never came back to be the same, you know? And so that's one thing I would say take from amateurs. If you really want to do this, put everything in and everything you got, live and breathe it, but don't be half foot in, 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Don't half-ass this because this sport will keep you honest. It'll keep you honest truly. If you're not working for
100%.
somebody
It's
else,
not a half
yeah.
in, half out type sport.
You can't play boxing, you can play basketball, you can play soccer, but you can't play fighting for sure.
No.
No.
Yeah, that's how you get hurt real quick.
Yeah.
Go back to LFA 98, your opponent, Maricel Rulis. What do you know about her so far, and how do you feel like you're going to have a key to victory?
Okay. I think she's good as far as like, decent MMA fighter, pro and whatnot. I've looked at a little bit of her amateur career and whatnot. She
Hmm.
definitely is mentally tough.
She's game.
She's game. She took some mini losses and whatnot and a few wins and went pro off of that. Like she doesn't give up. So I
Hmm.
know she's not in it for the money. I know that. I know she's not in it for the fame because there's nothing right now for this right now. And from like watching some of her stuff and creeping on her like on like YouTube, what her little video she's talked about. She's mentally game. She's ready to go, and she has a good clinch game. I see some holes in some things, but everybody has something to work on. So I'm sure she sees holes in my game, and it's been a while since she's fought. I think like a year, maybe
Yeah.
two, something like that. And same thing for me. It's been like a year, almost two going on that I fought, and I made a lot of changes to my game, and
Yeah,
I'm
her
sure she's done
last
the same.
loss in her last fight was October 19.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm game for this. Like I feel good about it. I'm confident in what I'm doing. Um, Ways to victory is I really want to make sure that she doesn't get to close that space and close that distance. And I know that I hit hard. I don't think I'm the tallest opponent she's faced. I feel longest as well. I have a 73.5-inch reach, so I'm gonna use that to my full advantage. And definitely, I feel like my wrestling is very game. My ground's pretty game, so I feel good about it. I don't feel not one bit worried about it because I did all my homework. I've been training. I've been putting in the work. Like right now, I just weighed myself and I'm at like 133, 132, and the fight
Oh,
weight
that's
is
right there.
125. Yeah, and I haven't cut any weight. I'm still eating. I just ate a really big plate, and I'm still great. And I'm like, and I'm at high
Yeah, you're a couple
altitude.
workouts away.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, I could skip a meal and just go there and be big chilling. Like I don't have to worry about it. I could fight tomorrow if I had to. And training partners I have, I'm like, there's nothing like stepping in a cage and sparring with Michelle Watterson or any of
Yeah,
these other girls or Holly and then hanging in there with them. I'm like, Marisa, I give her a lot of respect, but she's not on their
there's
level. And
nothing
I
that
feel,
she's gonna show you that Michelle hasn't already.
yeah, or Holly. And I mean, Holly, yeah. She's kicked me one time with like what is it, the question mark kick that she got
Yes.
vaccinated with? That shit sat me on my ass. I popped right back up. I'm good. I'm ready to go. I'm not done. And they were like, you're okay. I said, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm good. I was just
It's
like,
that question mark kick has put out a lot of women in this world.
yeah, I was like, I'm not going down to this. Pop right back up as soon as my ass hit the canvas. I was like, no, 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 no. So I mean, there's a lot of things that I think she can bring and show me, and that I need to work on in my game. But at the end of the day, I don't see it being anything that, like my teammates haven't thrown at me already. So yeah, I feel good about it.
What can the fans expect from your fighting style on the 29th?
Bombs, fireworks, and like that Shamrock FC said it best, don't blink, because I can put somebody out real quick and end it with real quick at the end of the night. So yeah, I think that's what I would say. Just be ready. Don't get up. Make sure you have your drinks, your popcorn, whatever you're watching next to you, because I'm not going in there like my mom says it best. Whenever I'm leaving in the back, she gets done braiding my hair. She always tells, she doesn't give me a hug and a kiss or good luck none. She says, get in, get out, handle your business, and don't play around. And
Mm,
that's the same thing I think about when I'm back there. I'm like, I'm gonna get in, I'm gonna get out, and I'm gonna walk out of here like I never was in a fight. And that's what I do. So I feel good. That's what they can expect. I would say don't get up to grab a drink or refill. It's gonna be over pretty quick.
Now, obviously, you're just starting off your professional career, but one day down the line, obviously, if you continue down this road, you're going to be a huge inspiration to many of young Native American women. How do you feel about that?
I feel good. I feel like it needs to be somebody who is really about it and for the people. I feel like some people are Native American and they use it for the clout or just to
Yeah.
get followers. And I'm like, you know what? When I walk out there, like I represent my people. My last walkout was the grand entry that they play at powwows, and I was like, this is the grand entry. This is all the people, not just my native tribe, but everybody.
For
And I
those
go
of you
out
that
and I'm
don't know
fun.
what grand entry is, at the beginning of most powwows, well, every powwow, if you don't have grand entry, it's not a real powwow. It's where every single walk of life, you don't even have to be in regalia. Anyone can get out there and just dance with us.
Yeah, and that's what I want to bring out is that inclusive side. Like I don't want people saying, "Well, I'm this tribe, that tribe," and I don't associate with that because of this. No,
Right.
we're all one. We are all one, and I feel like that's what I want to go out there and show. Is like, yeah, this girl's proud to be who she is, and she comes from the reservation, and she's proud to be where she's from, and she doesn't hide that or shy away from it. She wants to bring it up, and that's one thing I'm always going to be is pro Native American about whatever I'm doing. And I want them to be proud about that. I encourage people to see that and be like, yeah, she can understand some of her language. She can speak some of her language, even though she didn't come from it. It's not too late. Be proud of where you're from and who you are and your ancestors. Because, I mean, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here alive, breathing right now. And I feel like that's our way of giving back is doing something good, inspiring others, lifting others up, instead of knocking them down, looking down on them.
No,
Yeah.
100%. I don't want to take too much more of your time. I appreciate having you on. Before I let you go, though, I want to give you a quick opportunity to give a shout out to your teammates, sponsors, loved ones, anyone that's really helped you along your MMA journey.
I would say thank you to Lawrence Fight Club for, being there and for me and everything, still being nice to me and everything. I would say thank you to my mom, my dad, my sisters, and everybody putting up for the long journey and all the time I sacrificed away from them to put my time into here. My coaches, Mike Winkle, John, Greg Jackson, Joey Phyllis Senor, especially for helping me. My friends, my girlfriend, obviously for being there for me. And yeah, just having my nieces there, I would say those are my biggest, people I look down to hope that, they inspire to be something and do something with themselves. Like anything you want to do, you can go out there and go do it. You just got to believe in yourself. And teammates, there's so many of them that I could name right now, but I'm not going to take up too much of your time. So they know who they are. They train with them. Yeah.
And then where can the fans find you on social media?
Marisa, CHVZ MMA on all handles. So you can find me on everything with that.
All right, guys, it's Marisa Chavez. She's going to be having her LFA debut and professional debut January 29th. Look forward to watching your pro debut, and I can't wait to see what the rest of your MMA career has in store for you.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
No, of course, and we can't wait to have you again, and we'll continue to follow your MMA career.
All right. Thank you so much.
No, have a good one.
You too. Bye.